This break is brought to you by Audible. For a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook, head over to audible.com/gamebreaker. Now, Dragon Age lead writer David Geider has recently blogged about romances in video games, especially the ones he's worked on with BioWare. So, what's David's general opinion on video game options? Good or bad? Should there be more video game romances or should there be less? Here to talk to us about it is Jason Winter. So, Jason, what's David Geider had to say on this?
Well, he's pretty much okay with romances in games in general. He just doesn't want them getting in the way of the story. He even says, even if we had infinite resources, infinite time, whatever, I wouldn't necessarily add more because he doesn't want them becoming more of a game than the actual game itself. Like some kind of collection. I have an achievement to sleep with all my companions or something like that. He doesn't want it to be that part of a thing.
That sounds
And I'm
quite
sure that is
entertaining.
in some games, but yeah.
So what do you think, Jason? Should some games do romance as well? Some games don't do romances quite as well. I mean, I was playing The Darkness a little while ago on the Xbox, and it's terrible on that. So do you think that developers should even really bother putting them in games?
I mostly agree with him. I think that it can become too much of a distraction from the main story, but I don't agree that they necessarily shouldn't be there or that they can't be executed properly. The issue might be, like David said a little bit, kind of the game aspect, having to figure out who you want to get with and getting the points to make sure that they're happy with you or they're your friends or whatever. Maybe a better approach would be something like you see in a movie. There's like one hero and one heroine. It's not like the hero has, three women and two guys he can potentially seduce.
True.
Right from the start, the main male character and the main female character, they're going to get it on at some point. So maybe if you had something like that where instead you just maybe you try to go after someone, and if you don't, it doesn't happen. It's just an aspect of the game that just doesn't happen for you. Like if there's an optional boss, maybe you don't get to that boss. Or maybe here there's an optional nookie scene or whatever. You don't get, I don't know.
It's certainly an interesting idea. So, does David have anything to say about the real big question that is always bound to get at least someone's knickers in a bunch? Homosexual relationships. Does he have anything to add on those?
He doesn't really differentiate from them or even consider them different from heterosexual relationships. He's more concerned with the presentation of relationships as a whole. It's like Mike B and I did a hit about the homosexual relationships in Mass Effect 3 a while back, and
Oh
we
yeah.
agreed that they were kind of awkward, but the heterosexual relationships we see in games are usually just about as awkward. So
Yeah.
maybe they need to work on them as a whole because they're probably just as bad in real life and just as awkward as they are in video games. So it's just something to work on as a whole.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I suppose it's difficult for them to do that without upsetting people with the political side of it. Well, I mean, that sounds really interesting, Jason. So I'm sure we'll check back on any further updates on this information on the Dragon Age and this guy's thoughts on relationships in games. And as always, everyone keep it locked and dialed to Gamebreaker TV for all your gaming needs.